Thank you for waiting. Now we would like to have the next lecture, and we would like to have the lecture by Mr. Maki, who joined the Hitachi Solutions in 2006, and since then he has been working on improving the productivity in the software development and technical support. Currently, in order to promote the idea of DevOps, he is establishing the development platform which merged together the source code management tools and CI tools and PaaS infrastructure. And today he would like to give us a lecture titled Advantages of Ruby in our DevOps platform. Mr. Maki, please. Thank you for your introduction. I'm Maki from the Hitachi Solutions. I had made a presentation in Ruby World Conference 2010, so this is my second time. And we had a Ruby Center within the company those days. So I was working for the promotion of Ruby. And now it seems that I went back to the production technology. And I am working now on the DevOps development, which is a new trial. I'm supposed to make the introduction of company, but Mr. Sakai had already introduced in the sponsor session, and also we had the presentation by Mr. Hayashi yesterday, so I'm skipping that part. So I would like to first talk about the DevOps platforms. You might question, why are we doing that? You know about the tools of GitHubs and various tools and already working for the development. And the development tools are becoming larger and larger every year. So this is not something to be managed in just one single organization. In our company also, we are working on GitHub and Circle C using these tools and using these services. We wanted to use them, but sometimes it was difficult to implement that. And the reason why is because there seems to be various reasons. For example, issue of copyright. Since we are an SIer, we cannot have the customers' copyright information in our server or not. And also, there's a problem of export control. The GitHub has a server in the US, so if we put the source code there, that means a technology export. So if we have a export, the encryption technologies or other technologies will be sent together with a source code. And if this is being used in the third countries where there are restrictions, we will be under the criminal punishment. And most of the cases, we don't have to worry about that. But as a company, as an SIer, we also work for the defense kind of technologies, and we do have the encryption technology. So we have to be very careful as a company to be aware of those export control issues. And also we have a security issues. If the server is being hacked by somebody from outside, we also have to think of that possibility. So as a company who is aware of security, we have to think of those problems as well. But it doesn't apply to every technology. We need to check all these issues, and also we are confirming with all the departments and get the permission. But we have to do that with every project. That will be a lots of cost necessary. Then if we do that, the DevOps idea will not be promoted around. So my work is to create the environment of DevOps. So we're using the GitLab and Drone and the Cloud Foundry. So with the combination of these technologies, we are creating the environment for the DevOps. In the morning keynote address, we heard about the inner source, which was very much encouraging for our job. So that's what we are establishing, we are creating here. And I would like to briefly explain about each tool. One is a GitLab. I think this is very famous, so I don't need to explain, but this is something that is a source code management tool which has the same functions GitHub, but also they have the extensions which is unique to this. And also the Docker image can be used as a repository. And the other one is a drone. In order to realize the continuous integration, automatic test, and deploy implementation infrastructure, for example, with a Circle CI and Travis CI, will have the similar function. And we have to hook to the GitLab event and to create the events that is automatically run the events that is being in plan. And by utilizing the plugins, the Cloud Foundries can use it automatically. And the Cloud Foundry is the other one. Cloud Foundry, this is something like a Heroku. The CFC command, by utilizing this command, this is being pushed, and it was just one command, a simple deploy starts to run. We also have Chef and other tools. However, this is not becoming common. So the background is that everybody doesn't want to write the script. That is why we have selected this PaaS infrastructure. We just push and starts to move on the server. And if you want to increase up the instance, or if you want to use more memory, it's very easy to change that. And also to see whether the application is moving or not. It automatically restarts, and when the also load distribution are being done automatically. So all these requirements are included. And the other thing is that it's for middleware such as MySQL and also the self-made service can be registered at a catalog. So when you want to use it, it's easily, you can find out the instance and use those applications easily. So in the 2016 March, that's 6 months ago, the Azure's public cloud of Microsoft is there, and we put the IaaS infrastructure on the Azure. We need to ask for permission, so our infrastructure team asks for the permission, and for those people, we don't need any certification. We have a proxy servers, so the access from other proxy servers will not be allowed for the security. And we have LDAP within the company, and the LDAP has the ID, can be managed centrally. So we have an OpenM server outside the company, inside the company, and then to all these components, we made it possible that is possible to get into with the same ID. So now we have the box ready. But only the box is not sufficient to make it work. So we need to actually implement that on the platform. What do we need to do in order to make everybody use this technology? We started to utilize the DevOps and also at the same time to expand the functions. So what we have found out is that the management tool here on the screen, in order to use the Cloud Foundry, we need a CF command. I just mentioned about that, but this will not be intuitive enough. So we need to start up the application and stop the application, and scale out also has to be done, and the managed service, just like a catalog service I just mentioned before, and select that from that and to process with a bind to the application. And also on the cloud service, the catalog itself, we wanted to know what will be done. And we have been working on the development of the service, and also in the agile development is done. I think you are becoming aware that I have seldom used the word Ruby, but these are made with the Ruby, although I didn't mention that. So what we have been doing is first we decided to take in the flow of the code. So this is a famous one, so maybe I don't need to explain about that, but we use a GitLab, a Git flow development system. And we also need a develop master branch, and we have a protective branch to prohibit it to be directly pushed. And with a development branch, when we added the functions, we need a feature branch, and with a merge request function, was possible. And for the code review, so the person besides the person who actually wrote the code would need to check it, and if it's okay, has to be approved, and then it is automatically being deployed on the staging environment. So the test is done on the stage environment, and with no problem, then the merge request is given, and then it's being approved. Then it becomes a real environment. So this is a flow that we have decided. And this is the actual CI/CD cycles flow using the tool named drone. It has the setting file, and if the drone is moved, was these decided in the files, and then this is the setting files, and there are two major ones. One is a build process. If the GitLab, if the source code is pushed into that, and when the merge request is given that, then the event will be called out, and then specifically it will be tested on the containers, so the Docker containers. So we also need the Robocop, which does the analysis of the source code, and let's make sure that it is not against that rules, and then we made the test running. So that is done on this side. So if the merge request is approved, the deploy process starts to move. And this is the Cloud Foundry is used of drone in this case. The branch, the deploy process can be changed per branch. So for example, when it says when here, and also master here, that means besides masters. So if something is approved besides the master, then it is being deployed for the staging environment. And there's another one that says master here. And if the master is approved, that is the real environment. So that's where it really starts to move as a real one. And also we made a Docker service broker. You might wonder what it is, but this, as I already explained, we had, in order to make the cloud catalog service in the Cloud Foundry, we use this technology. First, we make the CM create service command is given, and then the Cloud Foundry, when they accept that, they would hand over the REST API, which is an interface that is decided. And what we made is we were wondering how we can make a catalog service, and we selected a Docker. So we listed up the Docker image, and then we selected that, and the developer will choose it. Then the service broker will check the Docker, and then starts to move the container for the Docker clusters. And also the connection information is given to the Cloud Foundry with the application that the user has pushed, and the Docker containers are being merged together so that the service becomes available. So that's what we have made. And this is one of the portal's functions of the management portal.
So as the application gets bigger, here the control or admin portal and the Docker service broker, we wanted to divide them there are two reasons why I want to do that. One is about the readability of a source code, perhaps needless to say to you. And another one is the availability of applications. Here, the admin portal, a lot of users can access to this one. So oftentimes you need to scale out if the workload is too much. And Docker Service Broker, that is just a code from Cloud Foundry. Only the user just want to have a request access. So first we use only Rails to write a source, but the rack and the gray pill, that is a lighter one framework, we changed to that. And then first, there was an application server named the Passenger. That is a server we used, but as you know, the multiple processes start, and then the live monitoring can be done with the Passenger. And that is the application server. But a live monitoring that can be done Cloud Foundry, so perhaps we do not depend on the Passenger to do that. So we changed to Puma, from Passenger to Puma. And the respect to spec is just written, and if the test case go through smoothly, we check that first, and then we divide the admin portal and the Docker Service Broker. Next is a blue-green deployment. I think this is quite well known and no need to explain. But to give you some short explanation, there is a publication by Martin Fowler, Continuous Delivery. This book mentioned this one. So when you want to just replace the application, you would like to do that, rewrite the application with the downtime 0. So the new application is pushed to pass, and then 2 routes need to be created. And here, this is the old route and the new route. And they are connected to applications. And once you confirm that no problem with the new application, then you can delete the old one. So the downtime is 0. In the case of Cloud Foundry, there is a command, the cf push, and the cf map route, that is a switch, and the cf map route, that is to delete the old application. So through this process, you can replace the application, and it may be easier if you can use a web interface rather than command lines, writing command lines. And then at the time of a drone deployment, there is a build band, and then that is attached to the application in this case. And here the number of a build is just written here. So just identify the route you want to change. And here the connected one is this, and here that is what you want to change. And if you just push the button switch, then the application is switched from old one to new one. And next is about operation monitoring of application. As Mr. Takai said before, Elasticsearch and Logstash and Kibana. This is rather ELK standard configuration. That is what we do for monitoring access log and the security audit log, and they can be integrated into this one. And then from application side, the log output is just a standard output. And the other component, the syslog would work. And here, this is the current situation. There are a lot more than before. Docker cluster, and then the operation monitoring and brokers and others. A lot of components. And then we are just promoting the development furthermore to make this process easier. So Ruby advantage on this platform, that is the next topic I would like to talk. There are two things, I think. One is the advantage in architecture. Another one is cultural advantage. First advantage, architectural advantage. Here we have a Ruby World Conference, and oftentimes we talked about the 12-factor app. And then this is kind of a method to create or develop a cloud native application. And the Heroku founder, Adam Wiggins, just started to say that. And this is introduced, presented as best practice of application on Cloud Foundry. And Ruby Gem just publicized as the gem in the name of Rails, or by the names of Rails 12 factor. Here, this is a kind of in-house information. So that means factor applications by different frameworks. And Struts, that is a rather old framework, and the Ruby on Rails and the Spring Boot. And then 12-factor application, that means 12 essences. And then the circle, the double circles means that we can support on the platform. The people don't need to care about this one. But at the framework level, sometimes okay or not okay, or sometimes something can be handled by library, or sometimes you have to write the source yourself. So that kind of things are summarized here. And then as you see here, the Ruby, that is quite just to comply with the standard, and the Struts, that is a little bit disadvantaged. And why this works this way? The Ruby, yes, that is a Heroku's founder. Heroku founder wanted to use Ruby, and then just developed best essence to use Ruby. So the Ruby on Rails, all these things that should be fine. But the Spring Boot, people don't, the Cloud Phonics developer just developed this framework as the best framework for Cloud Foundry. So as you see here, the circles or double circles for most of these factor applications. And then the cultural advantages, yes, DevOps is to just make the development more efficient. So in order to improve the efficiency, there are a lot of things you need to expect to your team members. And actually, again, this is some of the information we use in a company. With this kind of tools, then we can expect this kind of changes and what you have to do. So we just make up this kind of a summary table and share this with other people. And the review of codes or management of our branches and build script preparation and the writing of test codes. Yes, I've been involved in the promotion of Ruby for 5 years, and then these are the kind of a given concept to the team members, and there is no need to emphasize these kind of things again. So just continue what you have been doing using these tools. So Ruby, I'm not sure whether that is due to Ruby culture or the Ruby culture just to push us to do this kind of thing. But I think there is a big potential if you use to just overcome these kind of issues. If the team is quite unfamiliar, new to Ruby, then what kind of things we have to do? That is the task or the project that I'm working on. Here, this is a summary. In order to implement the DevOps, we just developed a kind of environment, although that is quite limited within the company. And then perhaps we can make use of a lot of new services which are not yet used in a project. But by developing this kind of platform, yes, we have a good environment to develop DevOps. And then catalog services. There's another one, and our company's products or other services that can be just put into this one. And then perhaps we can just mutually just give the feedback on the project, a kind of inner source. And that is what I want to implement within a company. And I myself, actually, I've been on a rather architect side in my job, but I would like to just pay more attention to the operation as well. So this is one of the know-hows that I want to learn and promote furthermore in this platform we have developed. And then through the process of DevOps development, I just realized again that Ruby is quite strong, and some teams already just adapted Ruby. And then if we offer this kind of thing, perhaps it is easier for them to adapt that. And then this is a kind of culture, and some projects are quite unfamiliar to this kind of a concept, even within a company, and how to change that, improve that. Yes, that is the strategy I have to come up with next. So that's all about my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Maki. So the floor is now open for questions. So if you have any question, please raise your hand. Well, a little question so far, but yes, please wait for the microphone to come. Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. Yes, but yes, you construct the platform within the company, and how about the impact or effect on the workload of Ruby programming? And also, so what you want to do is just make the company entire colored with the Ruby color? Yes, using this platform, yes, we need to see the increased work using Ruby. One of the things is now we have completed the kind of a promotion of Ruby, and now the company is just colored as a Ruby, but that is not the end of the story. And we need to think about what to do next. Here we have a platform, and then if we just if we use just Ruby program, this one, and then you can experience these kind of things, successful or good things. That is what we are going to present or show to our colleagues. And Ruby is quite powerful, and speedy development is possible. So perhaps I need to work hard or work more with our colleagues to just emphasize the good advantages and the strengths of Ruby programming. Okay, if there is no more question, we would like to just end this presentation. If you have any question, why don't you just please approach him and exchange your business card and then make some discussion. Well, thank you very much anyway, Mr. Maki, quite enthusiastic presentation.